102. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Jackson Williams. In the NFL, we have some holdouts across the league as mandatory minicamp ramp up. The Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin and a pair of AFC North pass rushers, Steelers TJ Watt and Bengals Trey Hendrickson, are all not in attendance today as they are seeking contract extensions. The U.S. men's national team takes the pitch at Geodis Park tonight as they take on Switzerland in a friendly. Kickoff is at 7 p.m., and you can hear that game with Lucas Panzica on the call, courtesy of Westwood One, right here on The Zone. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Store. 615-737-1045 is the number. Back in the studio at 2 o'clock today. Get your dad jokes ready because we got a contest, and the best dad joke gets a 2 tickets to see Whiskey Myers at Ascend Amphitheater on July 19th. So you got to have your best dad jokes ready to go. 2 p.m. When we start that second hour, we're going to be asking for those dad jokes. Big fan of dad jokes. Love them. I would say that I'm a dad joke connoisseur.
Why don't you tell one?
What?
Why don't you tell one?
I know that you're not very fond of them, Jackson. You rolled your eyes when I said this, but here's the dad joke for you. First week working at the bicycle factory, and they've already made me the spokesperson. Thank you. I'll be here all week. All right.
That was a joke?
That was a joke.
Where's the funny part, Blaine?
That's a dad joke. You laughed at that joke earlier. Now that Blaine's here, you don't want to laugh at it.
Oh, my. Oh, that doesn't sound like something I would joke. I would say there.
If you're worried about your microwave collecting data and your TV spying on you, Blaine, just remember your vacuum has been gathering dirt on you for years. Fantastic dad jokes. All right, we'll get your best dad jokes at 2 p.m. Then, of course, 2:20 p.m. we'll have everybody's Titans dad, Coach Mack, on for his weekly Mack Attack Talk, all things Titans. Mandatory minicamp kicks off today. I don't know if there was really a lot of interesting stuff, I felt like, but I do think that when it comes to L'Jarius Sneed and Jeffrey Simmons, I think those kind of comments is where I'd probably start. There's a big emphasis not only for Brian Callahan and what he said in his presser, but also a big emphasis from Jeffrey Simmons himself about getting more sacks. And Blaine, that's a really hard thing to, I guess. So much has to go right with sacks, especially for a defensive lineman. A defensive tackle like Jeffrey Simmons, because, I mean, those notoriously aren't big sack getters. I think Aaron Donald is probably the biggest anomaly of the last, 10 years, but typically those guys don't get a lot of sacks. And I understand that is the mission to get those double-digit sacks, but that seems pretty difficult and lofty. Is that too lofty of expectations to expect a double-digit season from a defensive tackle? Do you think that's too lofty?
Well, has he ever had double-digit sacks? Let's start there.
Yeah.
So I think that is lofty.
Yeah.
So it's just, what happens is once you get paid, everybody expects you to play this so much better because now you have a contract. No, you're supposed to continue to play what you've been doing because that's who he is.
Right.
He showed you who he is the first 4 years. Never 10 sacks.
Right.
So guess what that then does? When the media starts putting pressure on the player, he then starts playing outside the scheme so he can then get his numbers up.
Because that's what you just said right there is what has me a little worried.
That's what happens. Is again, then next you know, if If it isn't a pass and it's a run and it's where he was supposed to be, but he swung a guy because he didn't want to get double teamed because he thought it was going to be a pass and he's going after the quarterback. See? And so this is what happens when you start getting paid. So as soon as you get paid, the first thing that happens is now your next step is to tear you back down. That's what happens with all the players, maybe even outside of quarterback. Yeah. That's what happens. So then we're expecting, now that you've got paid, you're going to get 10 sacks. Well, he's never gotten 10 sacks in his entire career in a season. So why do we expect that?
See, that's where...
That doesn't make any sense. That's asinine to me. I don't get it. I think he's a 7-8 sack at best a season. And, I think I'd be more worried about him staying healthy, doing what the coaches are asking him to do. That's what he should be doing. He shouldn't be even commenting about double-digit sacks or if that's a goal or not. So he should be saying, hey, I'm doing my job to the best of my ability, and if that equates to 10 sacks, great. If it doesn't, as long as we're winning and I'm doing my job for my teammates, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, that's it. Because the coaches are going to have, they know what's really going on. They are watching. They're watching the tape. So I would say he needs to be more aware of, like, hey, man, staying healthy so he can be the best version of Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah. We all know that could be something really special. So I just, I expect him to be, at least, you expect at a high level, he's probably the 8-sack guy.
I 100% agree with everything that you said. Because this is what worries me. And you talked about it, first off, the expectations the media puts on someone just because they got paid. Because I can't remember who we were talking about, but we talked about this before, about a player getting paid and people expecting them to go crazy when they're really just the same player that they've always been. Mm-hmm. That does not mean you cannot improve.
Right.
It does not mean that you shouldn't strive to be better.
Right.
But putting out hashtag whatever he was putting out, like double digit sacks, and then you have Brian Callahan talking about needing more sacks. It seems like that's the emphasis, is that they're like, hey, this is what it kind of feels like for me from the coaching staff perspective. Mm-hmm. It feels like, hey, we didn't get a lot of edge rushers, and so we're expecting you to be the sack guy. Well, that's not fair to a guy that's never been the sack guy, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's what, from the outside looking in, is what it feels like. They're demanding, and listen, I'm all for coaches demanding more, right? But you're putting it out in public now, and they both are. The players putting a lot of pressure on himself, and the staff is putting pressure on him. And listen, I get it. 5 sacks last year, not great. 7.5, 8.5. 9 maybe 9 if you're lucky. I get it. That's where you want to go. And he did not meet those expectations last year. But we also got to remember he injured his shoulder. We don't know what the status of that is and how that all worked itself out over the offseason. We know he's aiming to get faster. But I kind of look at it and I'm like, I just don't know if I really like this messaging. Because not only is the staff backing up what Simmons said without really saying it, but they're backing up. Here, let's clarify. This is what Brian Callahan said on what can Jeff Simmons improve on at this stage in his career.
I think you can always improve. I think you can always find an area of your game. And to me, the best players that are like Jeff, those guys that are high level players, are always looking for somewhere to improve their game. I think I'd love to see more sack numbers from Jeff. That would be a goal for him, to be able to actually get the quarterback on the ground. Now, he affects the quarterback a lot, but the actual getting of the quarterback on the ground is something that I think he can do a better job of. And I know he's hell bent on making that happen for us. But there's always something you can get better at. He's always working at something, and I think he's grown as a person. He continues to grow as a player. You'd like to feel like he's sort of hitting his prime at this point, with the experience that he has and the amount he's played, to get the best version of Jeff this year.
I mean, and not a lot was said that probably wouldn't normally be said by a coach, but I do think that, we have Jeff Simmons going on Twitter saying, turning these pressures into sacks this year, hashtag double digits.
Mm-hmm. What did you perceive? What
Well,
Coach
I mean,
Callahan
he did
just said.
say he said something. And crap, I've already lost the wording of, but he said something to the effect that we know that we want more sacks from him. Obviously, true. He didn't say double-digit sacks or anything,
Right.
But he's hell bent. That's what he said. We know that Jeffrey Simmons is hell bent on getting more sacks this year, and obviously he's aiming for double digits. But I don't really fault the coach.
Callahan said double digits?
No, the Jeff Simmons did. So what I'm
okay.
saying, I'm relaying that to what he's saying. He knows Jeff Simmons is hell bent on this, and I think that's a phrase I kind of want to like own in on just for a second, because then Jeffrey Simmons is obviously saying hashtag double digits, and I worry about what you said earlier about pressing to get the double digits and how that may affect how he approaches certain plays. Like you said, he may try to be doing a swim move and he's out of his run fit because he thinks it's a pass or whatever, because he's trying to get the sacks. And I worry a little bit about the chasing an individual statistic when in a year when the team is preaching teamwork.
Well, I had no problem with the way Callahan approached that and what he said. He said, every player can always improve on their playability, basically, and that whether that leads to more sacks. He never gave it a number. He said he's growing as a person and as a player. So I completely agree with all of that. So I don't know what Jeffrey Simmons said. Here's what's happening. And it's the same thing Sweat did last year that he didn't do this year. He says, I want to be all-pro or whatever. Yeah.
If I get down to 345, I'm a Hall of Famer.
Right. He says something crazy like that, right? Okay. But that's what Jeff is doing now. Sweat this year said, I'm going to be the best version of me.
Yeah.
See? Because he learned quickly, that can set me up for failure, and somebody can come back and say, you had a down year because you didn't live up to what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, because if you don't get double-digit sacks, what's everybody going to point to?
You know it.
Which, again, we understand, you and I understand that he's maybe not a double-digit sack guy because he's never been in his career.
He's never done it.
But now he's putting that expectation out there.
Yeah,
and that's going to be,
that
that tells me that that's his focus. And I
agree.
get a little worried about that being his focus. And listen, when we come back, we'll continue this discussion. We'll talk about L'Jarius Sneed. We'll get to the phones. I see Manuel waiting. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, folks, I've been talking about Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance for years because they're the leading experts in sports medicine and performance and the team physician for the NFL, college, and high school athletics across Tennessee. And TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic group in the state of Tennessee. They have 29 locations throughout the state and over 100 physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. And TOA has 11 urgent care locations with walk-in availability 7 days a week. They offer direct access to sports medicine and performance, physical therapy, and nutrition. Personalized rehabilitation plans to enhance mobility, reduce pain, and improve overall physical function for patients recovering from injuries or surgeries. And TOA also offers sports performance training, a specialized program designed to enhance athletic performance and provide tailored training solutions for athletes at all levels. So please check out their services at TOA.com. Yes, that's right, TOA.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Titans mandatory minicamp. Day 1 just wrapped up on the field. We're getting some player reactions from the media rolling in. We got a couple of Jeff Simmons clips to play and all that kind of stuff. But first, I want to go to the phone. 615-737-1045 is the number. Manuel, what do you got on Jeff Simmons?
Actually, it's Emmanuel. Just
my bad.
No, it's all good. The thing about Jeff, see, what I learned myself, when you always want to say what you're going to do and you don't follow through, that's when people who are around you do not trust you about what you're going to say coming out your mouth. So the best thing to do is just shut up and play.
Yep.
And those goals that you have, you write them on your mirror every morning. So when you wake up after you got the shower, before you get in the shower, you can read those. And that's something personal to you. But once you let social media get a hold of it and you don't do what you say you're going to do, that's when the problem occurs. That's when the standards of what you say does not line up with what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And as a man, period, when it comes to anything that you're doing, if you're a man, you say you're going to do this and you don't do it, I mean, you're pretty much out of luck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wish Jeff would just, you don't got to tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah.
But on some days, just show up. And if he's smart, though, he doesn't have to get the sacks, but guess what? Somebody else can. Sweat. What's the guy name we just drafted? I can't even pronounce his name.
Femi Oladejo.
Femi, yeah.
There's other people that can get sacks, but Jeff, stop putting what you're thinking, your intrusive side, your mind side, out here for everybody to attack once you don't do it. And if he does that, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean,
I completely agree. Don't tell people your personal goals. I was never telling somebody my personal goals be the best version of me. What can you say to that?
Right.
Because that's for me.
I can only hope to keep improving.
Yeah,
I can. I'm trying to get better. Everything that I do in the off season, or everything I'm trying to do out here at practice, is just to be better.
Yeah,
be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you're right. Because okay. Let's say that, knock on wood, but let's say he gets injured, right? And he's out for the season. Well, you didn't reach double-digit sacks. You have an injury history, and what's all anybody going to say? Well, I thought you were going to be healthy. Mm-hmm. You lost 20 pounds and all this stuff.
Yep, and Jackson going to be coming at him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are going to do.
I can do what you do.
And listen, I don't think that's necessarily a fair way to approach it, but that's what people do. And for a guy that is notoriously online 24/7, this is not something I would be posting and putting out there and all this stuff. Like, I get it. It's also kind of like Myles Garrett today. Did you see what Myles Garrett said about Aaron Rodgers? No, he says this is a great opportunity to put him in the graveyard. So what's going to happen if you don't get a sack on Aaron Rodgers and y'all will lose both those games to the Steelers? Do you get what I'm saying? I love it. I love the trash talk. But, what's going to happen? Everybody's going to be like, I thought you were putting him in the graveyard.
I think that was a little more smack talk.
Well, yeah.
That was more smack talk because Myles Garrett definitely is going to get 10 sacks. He didn't say that. He said, I'm going to put him in the graveyard. That means he's going to, when he sack him, he's going to try to push him through the ground. Yeah. So that's more of a fear,
But what happens when you don't? Everybody's going to pull up that clip. Fair or unfair?
They will. They was like, what happened? He didn't get any sacks in the graveyard. You know? And then, you hyping up the other players. People must not forget, as elite as Myles Garrett is and some of these elite athletes, they rise to the occasion. And sometimes coaches be like, we're going to make sure Myles Garrett don't get no sack. We're going to chip him. We're going to double him.
Right.
Somebody else on that line going to beat us this time. Yeah, see, so that goes in and see, you got to play the game, but I think I was tongue-in-cheek there on that one. But,
I loved it. I mean, I thought it was hilarious. But, I mean, again, to the point, you put this stuff out there, it's what they call it, bulletin board material. Some of this bulletin board material is not just for the players. It's for the fans. It's for the media, right? And, again, fair or unfair, yeah, I just don't like the expectation. I don't like putting out these higher expectations that you've never reached in your career. Yeah. And I think that's the issue for me is that we go back to this idea. And listen, dude, there's some nuggets here from Jeffrey Simmons talking about a more coordinated pass rush. And that's great. Uh-huh. But again, your game plan is great, but what about the team's game plan? Are they going to double team Jeffrey Simmons? Are they going to push him out? Are they going to focus on Sweat? A lot of this stuff, a lot of you getting a sack is dependent upon how the other team is scheming up for you, right? And what you can do to counterattack that. So it's like, again, so much has to feel. I feel like so much has to go right for a player to get a sack, but specifically a defensive tackle. And I'm like, why put this out there if you're Jeffrey Simmons and be so hell bent on something? Because if you don't achieve it, everybody's going to let you know that you didn't achieve it.
Yeah, I think that's, and I get his goal. I mean, I just don't know if I would have advertised. I just think, he's a typical defensive guy. Attack. And that's how he responds to his answers is he just tells you what he's thinking. So, in theory, it's not a bad thing, but you got to be careful when you're dealing with the media, especially in this day and age with social media, because people don't forget. So, so I think he needs to be just a little more conscious of what he's actually saying. And, sometimes you just keep things in your back pocket.
Yeah.
You just... I wanted to get 6 interceptions a year. That never happened. I was never advertising, because...
Man, if you would have put that out there, think of how many people have been like, oh, this guy didn't get 6 interceptions.
Yeah, when I got 1. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, what's saying?
And then you say it again the next year, and you're like, they're like, yeah, okay.
Watch this. Did Kevin Byard ever advertise? Just think about all the guys who were leaders here. Did Eddie Jordan, I don't have to go back that far, but Keith Bullock, we can go down the name of the list of captains. Are they saying these things? So that's, I don't know. I feel like he's trying to, he doesn't have to justify how good he is by saying these goals or that they're double teaming me. Like, just think about Aaron Donald when he was playing. Man, everybody was double teaming him. I don't think he ever said, oh, well, they're double teaming me. That's why my numbers are down.
Yeah, he said my numbers are good and they're still double teaming me.
Right.
That's probably what he said.
So that's, he's got to be, a little conscious of it. I think he maybe needs to talk to a media coach or something, maybe just to get him right where he needs to be, because he's not wrong in having his goals. It's just that you don't put them out there like that. It's just, there's no reason to. I like how he answered why he wasn't here.
Yeah, well, let's get to that.
That's exactly how you're supposed to answer.
All right, we got that clip. This is from Jim Wyatt, and he says this is on Jeffrey Simmons' decision to work out on own up until this point, and he's back for the Titans minicamp and said that he's 20 pounds lighter. Here's Jeffrey Simmons.
Feel great. Great to be back out here on the field with the guys, getting to work with the guys. It's not always an easy decision, making that decision not to be here with your teammates, especially with a lot of new guys. First pick of the draft, not being here, but I made that decision. It's a personal decision. Today was a good day. I was glad to be back. Like I said, that was my decision. It was a personal decision, and that's pretty much what it was. And like I said, it felt great to be back out here today.
What led into that decision to stay away?
Like I said, it was a personal decision, and like I said, today I was back out here full of energy. It was great to be back out here with the guys.
Personal football decision?
It's a person from football, off the field, everything. Like I said, I made that decision because of me.
Good follow-up questions.
Yeah, good follow-up questions. They didn't, they tried to get a little bit more out of him, and he held his own. That was probably
that was
his best.
That was excellent.
And it's like, remember after the game, who'd they lose to after they beat the Texans? And he was talking about they got too high for the Texans' victory, and they had a victory hangover from that Texans win in the middle of the season. I'm thinking, you're saying too much. And that was pretty good. I don't like his lead-in saying that it was a tough decision because all these new people are here and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm like, the reason I personally don't like that is because I wanted him here because of all the newness.
Yeah. So he was trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, he tried to get ahead of it.
I'd say I gave him much props on that one. That was perfect. That was that was it, man. You got to take that same approach to everything else, though. I think that one was, he knew that question was coming.
Yeah.
So he
had to have known, right? Because he's listening to all the sports shows, and all that kind of stuff. He knew the media was going to be asking that. What you got, Jackson?
The Titans played the Commanders after
that was
the Texans.
So that game when they ran all over him and everything, and he's like, I think we had a victory hangover, if I'm not mistaken, was his words. And I'm thinking, oh boy. But he's lost 20 pounds.
Which is probably true, and probably what even maybe coaches said.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
But you don't say it.
You don't say it. You say, hey, man, they ran down our throats.
Yeah.
It's now about to see about how we're going to respond to this. That's it.
Right.
There are no excuses behind that. They ran down our throats. And trust me, there's been sometimes teams that ran down our throats. Guess what? That next game, they didn't get over 50 yards. so you just, you got to be strategic. I think I think he's halfway there. He's got to work on it a little bit. They're not the guards,
Right.
other teams. So, it's just his mentality, and it's you love it as far as a player, but when you're speaking to the media, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. So to your point, 267 rushing yards for Washington Commanders, and you said that, hey, that may have happened to us a few times, but that next game, you ain't getting that. 71 rushing yards the following week to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was a couple weeks later that Jacksonville Jaguars ran for 173.
Oh, dang, Jackson was playing fullback.
Yeah. I mean,
Dang, so, Big Jeff is there, he's learning as he grows. Even Coach Callahan said it right here. He's growing as a person and as a player. So obviously they understand it too. And it's probably all innocent. He's trying to do the right thing. That's one thing he's trying to do the right thing. It's just, it seems like this is his first go round. This is not his first go round.
right. And that's where it's like, he's growing as a person. It's kind of like Arden Key, right? Like we talked about Arden Key suddenly becoming this, leader in this year, of course, contract year, leader this year, but it's totally out of character for him. But Arden Key and Jeffrey Simmons have both been in the league a long time, and you're wondering, this point. Yeah. They're just now getting to this point is just sometimes that's how it goes, right? The maturation process is not linear especially for men.
Yeah, I guess everybody has their own.
Yeah.
But after you've been in the league a certain amount of time,
Right.
man, you are who you are. Man, I'm sorry.
Well, another player that's not on the field is L'Jarius Sneed. Now, he is at the building. He's been in the building for the entire offseason process, including the voluntary, from what we know.
He's not out there?
He's still not out on the field.
He's not even out there standing.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure on that point. But here is what Brian Callahan had to say on could they look to add a corner with L'Jarius Sneed's situation. We'll go to that one first.
I think again, that's a position that we, if the right guys are available and we can add them, we'll look to add them. I think you can never have enough corners because inevitably that's where injuries occur, especially during training camp. On top of it, the more corners you can have, the better. So there's certainly our eyes are always to the wire, trying to see what's available and who might fit.
Obviously, that was a kind of a Jair Alexander subliminal message question because obviously Jair Alexander, are you looking to add veterans from cornerbacks? And obviously Jair Alexander got, cut. But with L'Jarius Sneed, he's not out at mandatory minicamp. They said that he's not going to practice this week. Training camp is, at the end of July. Obviously, L'Jarius Sneed needs to be on the field at training camp at really the first practice, right? To make you feel any good about where they're at and with him.
What do they have him on a practice count or practice every other day? Or is he practicing every day? I think they're probably waiting to see where they're at.
Yeah,
but this one here is one to watch. I'm super curious because he is a very talented player.
Right.
And, man, it burns me because I think he's a heck of a competitor. And sometimes that works against you when you're injured and you're kind of working overtime and your body is not following you because you are working it overtime to try to get back. Because not only is he rehabbing, but he's not also getting to do speed work training. You are a trackster when you play corner, and that's what as much man-to-man he plays. Right. You doing a track workout, and that is not fun. And I don't think he's able to do that up here trying to rehab a knee. So he's not going to be probably on top of his game early on. So, that's why I want to see him practicing over and over again, and you can get it back. You can rekindle it all back, but you got to be working on your fast twitch muscles. Recovery time.
Those
it's a lot of things that he's missing here that you got to have. Technique. I mean, you know, you may have changed as time has gone on, or you may have to because maybe you're a half step slower. I don't know. You need to figure all this out, and they only can do it in practice.
Joint practices would be really big sticking point for L'Jarius Sneed,
Yeah,
right?
that's not here.
No,
neither one of them.
they're both away. So, but I mean, wouldn't that be a big sticking
Falcons,
point? You know, for the Falcons and Buccaneers,
Tampa Bay, yeah.
But that would be a good sticking point for L'Jarius Sneed, is to get some reps down there, to talk about what you're talking about, to get those reps against other players at different speeds, different kinds of wide receivers that you're going to see here, to figure out what you do, what you can do, what you can't do, what you may have to change and adjust. But really, I mean, day one of training camp, I don't care if it's every other day or whatever. I think day one of training camp, I mean, I'd be all right with day two. But, like, if you don't see him day one or day two of training camp, I'd start panicking just a little.
Yeah, I would be a little nervous. I'd be like, okay, who's still available? And not to be some player at his level for that kind of price, but I'm saying a quality guy that you can stick or be a backup, you know, to bring in a veteran who you know can still get it done. He's a savvy vet. So, yeah, that and they're not going to sign somebody. Zaire is going to worth big money.
Yeah.
I love Zaire, but, man, they're not going to sign a guy like that.
I would love to know really more of a health update of what's going on with Sneed. I mean, that obviously Sneed's not available
Nobody
for
asked that
questioning,
question?
but nobody's really asked for, you know, what really happened? What's the recovery process on something like that? You know, where is he at? Is he able to put weight? Is he able to shift his movement, do pivots, you know, stop, start? Was he able to do all of that?
And does that irritate his knee?
I mean, we're getting questions that kind of dance around the subject, but we're not getting questions directly at the problem, because they don't seem, from questions, too concerned with the off-field issues that are hanging over his head out in Texas. And he's been there this entire time. Where are we at in the rehab process as far as, do you expect it? And there hasn't been a follow-up question since the owners' meeting that I can recall of whether they expect him to be ready by training camp or not. Because if you can recall, he said, like, maybe definitely he'll be out there. Maybe definitely, which is a fantastic word.
How do you put maybe and definitely in the same sentence?
It's like maybe
that sounds like something that
definitely
Jackson would
maybe.
say.
Blaine, it's potentially guaranteed.
It's potentially guaranteed. Yeah. So I would like to know the answer to that question, right? Like, I mean, where is he at? I mean, because he's obviously got the knee issue that's always going to be there, but now you have this quad issue, which was solved by injecting stuff into the knee. I would like to know, how's that knee holding up? What are you guys doing inside the building in the rehab? Where are you at the point in the rehab? Because that would also probably make a lot of people a little bit more comfortable if they're like, oh, well, he's only like a week away from being able to do this, or he's 2 weeks away from that. Because we got a long road to go until the end of July. I mean, it'll be here before you know it, because that's how it all works. But we have a long road to go before the end of July when training camp starts. So I just want to see, you know, I want to know at some point this week, hopefully we get the answer, maybe another question about, okay, where is he exactly at in the rehab process? What is he able to do on that knee? That is the question. When we come back.
Quick question.
Yeah,
Would
go ahead.
you swap? I know this on
Go
here.
ahead.
Sneed for Alexander. And how much would that cost you? If you cut him, is there a point where you can cut him? We'll do it after we come back from the break, and then sign Zaire Alexander.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll talk about Jair Alexander. We'll talk about L'Jarius Sneed, and we'll talk about Brian Callahan's further comments on L'Jarius Sneed. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. You asked before the break whether or not that you would swap out Jair Alexander for L'Jarius Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed, if cut, right?
Like today or before the season
all the way
starts.
to
as long as he's not injured.
Yeah, as long as he's not injured. If he was cut, it would only cost the Titans $500K. We'll just keep it a nice round number, $500K.
480, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they would lose $500K off the salary cap. No big whoop. If they were to trade him, they were be able to save $8.5 million, but I don't think they would be able to trade him. Now, Jair Alexander obviously would cost you probably anywhere from $10 to $12 million to sign. Mm-hmm. He's only played 14 games over the last 2 seasons, so I think I would just stay with L'Jarius Sneed for one more year. That's
now,
tough.
what was his injury? I know one was his shoulder, and I want to say the other one was lower body, but I don't know that. It might have been knee or something, I think, but a scope. Nothing to the level extremes of, this guy can't practice, and he's so you could say he's had some injury issues, but they were all, legit. It was, things you can recover and come back to. It's just something to consider, man. If he can't play this year and you think you're going to get another, how many games? Did he play 5 games? I mean,
yes.
Well, he started and finished.
6 games. It was after the Colts game that he didn't. I guess that would have been 5 games because that would have been 4. Week 4 was the Dolphins game, bye week Colts game. And then that's when he got the helmet. Just so you know, here's the injury history of L'Jarius Sneed. He had a groin pull last year.
This is Zaire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said
Sorry.
Yeah.
Alexander.
Yeah.
He had a shoulder injury in 2023.
Yeah.
He had another groin pull in 2022.
Ooh.
In 2021 he had the shoulder AC joint sprain. So it seems to be the same thing over and over. And then that was from 2021, 2024 he's only averaged 480 snaps per year. A lot of that is from, I believe, the 2022 season where everything else, 7 games, he missed 10 games last year, missed 10 games the year before. And so, yeah, it's a little rough.
I don't think I would do it.
Yeah.
Especially after.
And there was a suspension in there somewhere. That's not up on this list, but there was a suspension at some point.
Zaire?
Yeah.
For what? Like team related or league related?
I think league related, but I just want to make sure
What?
He got suspended in 2023, but he was also
for what?
What did he do? Conduct detrimental to the team.
Oh, so that was in-house.
Pre-game coin toss. Do you remember? And I'm now starting to come into.
He made himself a captain.
Yeah, he made himself a captain for the pre-game coin toss. So he went out there illegally for the pregame coin toss, which is so freaking weird. Like, I mean, how does that even happen? And why did he even do
it? So basically, someone else was out there.
Yeah.
And he went with them. And the team said, why were you?
The Packers suspend him. It was the Packers.
Right. It's in-house suspension.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a no-no.
So
he didn't make himself a captain. He made himself the talking captain.
Yeah, the talking captain.
Dang it. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
Man, this dude is a dog. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, great player when he's healthy.
Yeah, but
remember,
there's too much risk going on here.
His last interception as a Packer will always be the pick 6 from Will Levis on that DeAndre Hopkins throw.
These guys are just joking. I remember this play. I watched it multiple times. I don't know why Will Levis threw over there. Hey, but you know what's so bad? This is how players play free. Guess what coverage Zaire Alexander was in?
I believe is man.
Nope.
So,
cover 3.
Cover 3.
That means he has.
I'm trying to think of how many players were on the field.
He has deep third.
Wide receivers.
Deep third. He set on a route because something through studying film made him sit there. He didn't move. He had his hips open at 5 and he never moved. Because guess why? He saw 3-step drop tells you quick pass. And so he didn't move. Because he kept reading his keys. 3-step drop, then eyes to the receiver. Then he broke. Boom. He's supposed to be in the deep third. What if they did a double move? Uh-oh, he in trouble.
Yeah.
See that? So sometimes you got to take risk, and sometimes you don't. It's a feel thing. But he felt the freedom to take that risk and didn't hesitate. It looked like he was playing zone coverage or something. He was like, man, like where he could be like cover 2 and he was supposed to be right there. He was not supposed to be there at all. And first of all, why would Will Levis throw towards Zaire Alexander and the other guy couldn't even tell you his name?
Right.
Nuh-uh.
I do want to get to real quick, L'Jarius Sneed's from Brian Callahan on do they need to get more out of Sneed this year? This is what Brian Callahan had to say.
I think everything that he's shown us when he's here has been fantastic, and there's a track record of success as well from what he has been as a player. But he's also got to prove that here too. He hasn't done that yet for us, so there's a little bit of that as well. Like we're waiting for him to show us, the player that he's been. He hasn't reached that level of play for us, and so we're waiting for that opportunity to occur, and I think he'll be ready for it when it comes. But his track record of success and what he's been as a player is pretty well documented. We just hope we need to get that version of him out here for us.
I mean, all true, right? I mean, there's nothing to me. A lot of people are making a lot of it, and that's just all true. I mean, I think it's everything that we've all said. I mean, I would be surprised if Brian Callahan didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
This isn't anything shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean, he gave you the facts. I mean, hey, man, we all know his track record, but here we have not seen that.
Right.
So hopefully we will get to see that real soon.
Yeah. Well, that's when I would have followed up. If someone needs to follow up and say, okay, when? When do you expect to see
and
that?
I would have said, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon.
Watch this. My job depends on it. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it last week, but this defense, L'Jarius Sneed is kind of that Jenga piece because he allows you to do so much, but we have no clue what L'Jarius Sneed you're going to get. We have no clue where he's at.
You guys are making me nervous already. And by the way, I don't know if his name is pronounced Jair.
Jay.
Jay, okay.
Yeah, you're thinking Zaire Franklin.
Okay, I keep saying Zaire, so that's on me. But yeah, I know Alexander, and he played at Louisville. And he was good when he came out. He went first round.
He was awesome. Yeah. I loved him so much.
Golly, man, you guys are making me already nervous. I mean, who's the other corner now? Didn't we sign some veteran guy?
No, that was Chidobe Awuzie.
No.
And then he's gone.
No, they signed another guy. They did.
You talk about Daryl Baker Jr.?
No,
they had to re-sign him.
I'm talking about this offseason.
Xavier Woods?
No, Woods is a safety. I thought they signed somebody like right before camp. The OTAs. I thought.
Y'all couldn't pronounce his name.
That's
exactly it because I couldn't pronounce his name.
You're supposed to learn how to pronounce his name. Amani Auroriore.
Oh my! Stop.
There we go. Amani Auroriore.
Oh, I'm gonna just say Auroriore.
Yeah. Amani Oreo.
Say that 10 times. Boy, I would chop that all up. Oh my gosh.
But yes, he's on the list. But I mean, obviously Daryl Baker Jr., they were able to get by with him last year, but can you duplicate that again? Because I mean, again, to me, he did well, but your defense could have been so much better if it was L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, there's a clear difference between L'Jarius Sneed and Daryl Baker Jr.
He did a solid job. He earned another contract, so yeah.
All right. I know that you're nervous, and I'm making you nervous about this season. So I'm going to, when we come back, not only are we going to get your dad jokes ready.
I don't have any.
All right. But for the callers, get your dad jokes ready so you can win these tickets. But also, I'm going to give you some reasons for optimism.
Oh, please do.
All right. So we're going to do that when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
There are a lot of diagnoses out there, and there's a pill for everything. But not all diagnoses are accurate, and not all pills are good for you. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. And when you get a diagnosis for a European auto repair, get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And Eurofix is the home for second opinions. So before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis, go to Eurofix. It could not only save your vehicle's life, but could actually save you from a lot of stress that ruins your weekend. And life's too short to get stressed out and angry. So be happy and go to Eurofix. And at Eurofix, you always get a free 15-minute no-rent inspection with an estimate at every visit and not high-pressure sales tactics. You also get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And at Eurofix, you never pay dealer pricey. Family-owned for 26 years. Located all over the state of Tennessee, starting in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right. 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But I always say, Blaine said ya.
2:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. In the NFL, we have some holdouts across the league as mandatory minicamps ramp up. Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin and a pair of AFC North pass rushers, Steelers edge rusher TJ Watt and Bengals Trey Hendrickson are all not in attendance today as they are seeking contract extensions. The U.S. men's national team takes the pitch at Geodis Park tonight as they take on Switzerland in a friendly kickoff at 7 p.m. And you can hear that game with Lucas Panzica on the call, courtesy of Westwood One, right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. I told you at the top of the show. It's Dad's Week on 104.5 The Zone. If you're looking for a gift for Dad this Father's Day, then tune in today through the 13th as we give you chances to win Dad tickets to events, concerts, and more. This year, give Dad the best. Listen for a chance to win prizes from our friends such as the Atlanta Braves, Nashville SC, Nashville Sounds, Live Nation, and more. All right. You have about, let's say roughly, the run of this segment to give us your best dad joke. And if you give us your best dad joke, and if we'll all vote on it, you'll get 2 tickets to see Whiskey Myers at Ascend Amphitheater on July 19th. All right. So give us your best dad jokes. We got some on the line. We'll go to Bobby first. Bobby, give us your best dad joke.
Yeah, I tell a lot of dad jokes from someone who's not a real dad. It's a real faux pas.
Okay, say it one more time.
I tell a lot of dad jokes for someone who's not a real dad. It's a real faux pas.
I like it. I stay on the line, Bobby, so if we choose you. Let's go to Jason. Jason, give us your best dad joke.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. My dad joke is, what is a football player's favorite kind of dancer? A Belichick.
I like it. That's a good one. We got some more calls coming in. Jackson's getting the phone right now, but that's a good one. I like the first one. I thought the delivery was a little rough because you got to give that pause. You got to have that little pause in it. It's a real faux pas, a fake dad. I liked it. I like the joke. Jason had a good one. Okay, we got James with a dad joke coming in. James, you're on with Blaine and Zach. What's your dad joke?
How does a bicycle stand on its own?
How does a bicycle stand on its own?
Kickstand.
It's too tired.
I like it.
Oh.
That one made you think a little bit, but I don't maybe,
I don't think it made sense.
I think it needed to be, why can't the bicycle stand up on its own?
Yeah.
Because it's too tired. I think James kind of lost the plot on that one. All right. We got more coming in. Just real quick, I wanted to give, while we're waiting for some of these phone calls to get answered and stuff, make sure Bobby, Jason, James, you all stay on the line as well. Blaine, I'm going to give you some reasons for optimism.
Oh, my.
Okay? And they have nothing to do, well, they have something to do with Cam Ward, but they have nothing to do with Cam Ward.
Okay.
Because I obviously Cam Ward brings his own optimism to the table. The offensive line we've talked about brings you some optimism. Here's the thing, is that the Tennessee Titans last year were the 31st ranked offense, and they were the 32nd ranked special teams. If those numbers improve, then you improve as a team. Because, I mean, that's all it takes, right? I mean, like, you're talking about, the 32nd worst special teams. It was a historically bad special teams last year. So, being that it was a historically bad special teams, I think special teams this year with Bones Fossil at the helm, the energy that he brings. I don't know if you saw his mic'd up recently last week, but it was a really good over on Titans Twitter. I mean, he's floating around. He's got all this high energy and all this stuff. Obviously, super experienced and super great special teams coordinator. That is, to me, that's some reason for optimism right there. And I think the offense will be better than the 31st ranked offense. And I feel like if those two things are better, defense was 17th when you really dive into the numbers.
Oh, man. So they were 17th. The offense was 31st.
And the special teams was 32nd. By a wide margin, by the way. So, yeah. So I'm giving you some reasons for optimism. I think the offense will be better and special teams will be better. Well, that's true. Well, listen, for the offense, you can still go down. For the offense, you can still go to 32. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I'm more worried about the defense than I am the other two units. What about you?
Why is that?
I'm worried about L'Jarius Sneed. I really think that's important.
They played basically the season without him.
I'm worried about, and I know. I'm worried about the pass rush. I'm worried about L'Jarius Sneed. I'm worried about the other inside linebacker position. We have a lot of unknowns on that defense.
Well, I'm not worried about really linebacker because it's kind of a, it's like playing safety. Like in this day and age, that doesn't really change the game. Pass rushers will change the game as well as corners as much passing goes on. So those will be things to watch. But, man, I if they could just get, 70% of Sneed and get pressure on the quarterback, the way Jeffrey Simmons is looking like he's a pass rusher.
He's slimmed down a lot. You can actually tell he's lost 20 pounds.
You can see it in his neck. Yeah. You could tell. Man, dang. They could be, I always felt they were a middle road defense, so that's where they are. But they got to do a little bit better job for me against the run. And I think that would help out a lot.
Let's go to Tim with a dad joke. Tim, you're on with Blaine and Zach. What's your dad joke?
Yeah, what's the Sharks' favorite saying?
Sharks' favorite what?
Saying.
Thing? I don't know. What is the Sharks' favorite?
Saying, man overboard.
Man overboard. Oh, saying. Got it. All right, stay on the line, Tim. All right, let's go to John, who has a dad joke. John, what you got?
Ironically, what soccer player didn't have to clean up his room?
I don't know what soccer player didn't have to clean up his room.
Messi.
All right, John. All right, let's go to Ed. Ed, what you got? Hello, Ed.
Best joke so far.
That's not the best joke so far. All right, Ed. You got to fix your connection, and we'll bring it back. Maybe his name was Ted, and you just left off the T like you did for Manuel earlier. You left off the E. Got to get these names right. All right. So far, I'm a little underwhelmed by our audience and their dad jokes. I have to say, has not been the best. As a connoisseur of dad jokes, we got to get a little bit better. We got to get a little bit better.
Self-proclaimed connoisseur.
Self-proclaimed. I mean, I follow all the dad jokes. I send them all the time. I think their puns are hilarious. We got another guy calling in right now. We'll see if Emery right here is going to be able to, bring us back. If he's going to have the joke of the day. All right. What are we doing over there? All right, Emery.
Yeah.
What's your dad joke?
Yeah, did you know why every aircraft carrier in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden had to have a barcode printed on the side of it?
No, why?
Pretty simple. They had to be able to Scandinavian.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Emery. I like that one. I like that one right there. What's been your favorite one so far, Blaine?
That last one right there.
The last one. Is the last one just your favorite one?
Yeah, that was just my favorite one. Yeah, that stood out.
Okay, we got Fred coming up next here on the show. Fred, what's your dad joke?
Hey, guys, my joke is, what is worse than a mayonnaise spread?
What is worse than a mayonnaise spread?
A Will Levis mayonnaise spread.
A Will Levis mayonnaise spread. All right. All right. This was an underwhelming segment. I'd like to apologize to everybody for this entire segment.
It's okay. We got some more to go. We got some more to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and call it right here, right now.
What?
Do you want more to call in, Blake?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you guys. Okay. We are.
Yeah.
What?
There's some more on there.
Yeah. We'll we'll wait. No, we really got to close some people off.
No, we are out of phone lines. Nobody else can call in.
What's these other ones over here?
I don't know.
As we discuss all this on air. Okay. Well, if we're out of phone lines, as it were, then I'm going with Emory for the Scandinavian, right? That's my vote. Is that your vote, Blaine?
Yep, I'm with it.
Congratulations, Emory.
Congratulations to Emory. Jackson will pick up here in just a second and get you all set up. Sorry to everybody else who contributed. Even though I will say that I did love the very first one, the faux pas one. So special shout out to Bobby, but you got to work on your delivery. You got to have that little beat. Got to have the beat in between the punchline and stuff. All right, Emory is going to get the win on that. Blaine, I'm going to force you to give me some optimism before we go to Coach Mack.
I don't know if I can do that.
Oh, come on. You got to be able to find something or someone you could be positive about.
I have to tell you after the break.
That's not a good sign. That is not a good sign.
Man, I mean, the skies, they can only go up in every category, really, at this point in time. So it's about how quickly Cam Ward and the receivers and the offensive line and then the Sneed and the defense and everybody, all the pieces of the puzzle come together. They can be middle of the road and they can surprise somebody and really be a middle of the road, very competitive team. That's been, as best I could say, optimistic about this upcoming season. And that, I think, is something that could happen, but all the cards have to be played and played right. And I just don't know if they can do it all in one season. It's hard to come together and gel like that with new pieces and puzzles. But you never know. Sometimes it depends. It can happen.
Right. I mean, it really is just if I were to give advice to let's say a new Tennessee Titans fan came in today and he said, hey, it's going to be my first year rooting for the Tennessee Titans. I know nothing about this team. What should my expectations be? As I would say, your expectations should be that they remain competitive, but don't expect a lot of wins. But if they remain competitive and they get better each and every week, then this team is on the right path. And that's really how I would look at it, is that, listen, you got to get wins, obviously, for job's sakes, like job security's sake. But really, this team just needs to be a little bit better each and every week. Because last year, it was like, oh, we got a little bit better this week, and then we just stepped way back in another category.
No, they fell through a hole.
Yeah. I mean, like they stepped so far out, they're out screen. They fell off the earth.
They fell through one of those holes.
Yeah.
There, man.
I mean, so at this point, it's just about finding little things to be, that optimism is finding little things that show signs of success that they're on the right path. That's really what it boils down to.
I got one.
Yeah.
This is a joke. This is a dad joke. What happens if you go to sleep with an itchy butt?
What?
It doesn't tell me.
It does?
Did he say it out here?
Yeah, you wake up with
a smelly finger. Oh, that's a Jackson joke.
All right, when we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Mack. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. It's Tuesday at 2:20 p.m. You heard the music. That means it's time to go to Coach Mack for his weekly Mack Attack here on Cover 2. Of course, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer. And Coach, minicamp starts today. What was your overall takeaway from minicamp?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, I just got back from there. It's much the same, but it's longer. You can stay on the field longer, and the difference now in this phase 3 that they're in is that they can have meetings after practice too. So you're moving more into a regular season type of a schedule, but the formula for practice was just about the same now. Everybody that was healthy was there, okay? And, you had 7-on-7, you had 11-on-11. So they went through the special teams. So the practice, as I said, all of those things, I always start my practice out down at individual with the offensive line, watching Bill Callahan, the things that he's doing with those guys. Got to see my first extended view of what Zeitler looks like, as a veteran player down there. And then, moved on into the group stuff. I thought all the quarterbacks threw it really well today. Cam Ward had some really, really good throws. They worked a lot today on a lot of the play action screen stuff. And then when they got to team, they had the complementary routes, like the drags and the daggers and the post sevens off of that play action look that screens come off of also to draw the linebackers in. It was a good practice. And then the kicking session on the last period before practice was good. They kept backing that thing up a long ways. I know Jimmy White will put out his report as far as to how far those kicks are being made, the field goals. But anyway, it was a good practice. Started heating up at the end. Weather-wise, I think the next 2 days are going to be a little hotter.
How has Cam Ward looked under center throughout his progression from rookie minicamp to voluntary OTAs and now mandatory minicamp? Has he been improving in that area based on what you've been able to see?
Yeah, I mean that's been no problem for him. I mean, and he's going to have to do both. He did both, but he's going to have. Yeah, he looks fine. I mean, they do a lot of drills. There's a lot of individual drills that they do with the centers. That's one of the first drills they do before anybody ever comes out, before they ever stretch. They get 4 centers out there and they go through cadence, snap counts, and they're all under center. Doing various things. So to answer your question, he looked fine.
There's been a lot of work over the middle of the field with Cam Ward. Do you feel that is, by design, or is that just where the ball is tending to go as he goes through his progressions? Because, obviously going in the middle of the field in the NFL is a big part of the game and a great way to attack defenses. If you are accurate and on time, how has he looked at the middle of field throws, and why do you think we've heard so much about those middle of field throws?
Well, a lot of times it's what the coverage dictates. Where you go with it. He fit a couple of those real nice transcontinental crossers in there today, and he threw a nice deep red line. That red line, when you go to practice and you see that red line that's out there 5 yards from the sideline on either side. Both the offense and the defense on any vertical throws are trying to win that red line. He made a really, really nice post corner throw on the red line throw. So he can throw it all. He can throw it all. The thing that's impressive about him, especially when he is scanning as far as for his progressions, is how quick the release is. That's the whole key. I mean, that's a huge key. A lot of the keys to middle of the field completions are the release and timing. And he seems to be doing a decent job with that.
We're on the phone with Coach Mack for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Well, Coach, you just talked a little bit about what I wanted to ask you. Where do you think he's going to make his hay as far as what makes him special? You talked about his quick release. Give me something else, all the great ones always had something in their back pocket, whether it's Tom Brady could see the whole field, Peyton Manning could, check plays at the line of scrimmage. What will you think will be his go-to, at least at this point? Will it be he sees the field really well? I've heard, the DC say that as well at the last OTAs.
Yeah, well, I think along with that, Blaine, is his composure.
Ah, okay.
his composure. I mean, he is he is non-bothered by a lot of things. Well, just like today. I mean, in the team drill, they bogeyed a look away to his right side with the blitz, and then brought 4 from the other side. It was and they had a bootleg called into where the pressure was coming. He showed no panic at all. Flick of the wrist out there to the tight end. That was his release valve. There's no panic in him. And you know, standing with the people I was standing with. Of course, I've been to every practice, but his ability to stay composed is what's impressive to me right now.
That's a heck of a trait because, you know, once those pads get on, a lot of dudes get rattled when they get hit and drove into that ground and changed a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that works in live action. I know Jeffrey Simmons was there today, mandatory, of course, but I was looking at his neck there. He looked like he is leaned out. Was that something that he wanted to do, or was it kind of suggested from the coaching staff? What do you think that came from?
I don't know, but I do know this. I think he and J.C. Latham both, especially big guys. Now, you know this. You can even apply it to most guys as they move in their career, and they're lucky enough to stay past 3 years, that you start to lean your body out because you realize that the leaner and the more efficient muscle mass you have rather than bulk helps you a lot in this league. Yeah. This league is regardless of position. You know this. This league is a speed league. It's a big man's game. It's still a big man's game, but the foot quickness and the ability to move with short area quickness and the ability to have some resilience and not wear down. I think J.C. Latham has learned that watching him work this whole off season. You can see that, and then Big Jeff is slicked up. He really is. He's leaned up. I think it was probably a little bit of both. But I've watched players in my coaching career do that as they graduate in years. If they figure out a way to get the optimum to their body, so that they can not only perform but that they can last. I mean, I think it's an evolution that you see with players that start to figure this league out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I lean down. Once you get that grown man strength, man, then it's over. You realize that you don't need to be all buff. You want to be, flexible and lean and mean like a fighting machine.
I used to tell my guys, if you can get like those wire cables are that you see stretched sometimes on the interstate that are that keep your car from running off the interstate. It's not a big metal bar. It's that wire cable. You get to where you got wire cable instead of a big bulky beam, you got a chance.
Well, Coach, speaking of wire cables, I've seen this before. I've never asked anybody. I would hope that you know, but you may not. The O-line are doing the bungee cords over there. They got to attach, like we use those for speed work. I was interested, why are they using it to help them with what as offensive linemen?
It's balance. It's resistance, and it's also stamina. Because you're working against inertia when you're using those things. And of course they've got when they use the bungee cords, they don't have a little guy. They don't have a trainer on the other end.
Right. He go flying.
No, exactly. So I mean, he's got Bill Callahan's got a lot of drills where it's man on man, but it's man on man. He's got a device that he was using, the push pull type of device that they were working today. But it's all because that type of tensile strength. You've got to work against the type of force you're going to be working against. As much as you can emulate without putting pads on and going full pads against another human body. But that's what it's for. Those bungee cords, if you work them right, they can wear you out. You know that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I guess lead to that. What were some other drills that he had them doing? I know it's no contact, so naturally you got to be a little creative in helping them in their development. Were there any other drills outside of even O-line that you saw that like, oh man, that was creative? I hadn't seen that in a while.
Yeah, he did one today with them where they went 2x2 and had a long It looked like a PVC pipe, but it's long that you put on your shoulders, put your arms over it, but it forces you to keep your head up. Oh. But you've got to get your body, and then he gives them a wave drill doing that. But you've got to be able to keep your head up, because the first thing that happens with an offensive lineman that starts to get beat, anytime that I was looking at a defensive film to see which offensive lineman we could wear out first, their head drops and their hands drop. Oh. And that's what he was working on with that.
Oh, that's pretty cool there. Now, Coach, I know it's different times, so they have so many resources for these players, but do they have anything, at least with the league or the Players Association, with media training, or is that all on the players' own?
You know what? Each club has it, and then the league has it too. Mm-hmm. All the rookies go through it.
Right.
You know, all rookies go through it, and it's available. You know, also during the year, and that's one thing that the players and everybody handles the media different.
Right.
The media now, Blaine. I can speak
much
to it.
harder now.
It's a different world now than it was when you and I were working it.
No doubt.
It's completely different now. I mean, you know, you've got dudes that some are out there with a computer that don't know whether the ball's pumped or stuffed. But what they will do is everything that you take, they will take and dissect and cut it up and cut it up and cut it up until it gets to a point as to where you look at it and you go, is that really what I said? And then so you've got to be very, very judicious. You know, with what you say, just be honest. I mean, being honest is one of the big things. I don't think that changes in any era. Is you got to be honest. But your question was, do they have training? They absolutely do.
Well, Coach, I'm gonna give you one last question.
Sometimes, Blaine, you learn by mistake.
Right. Of course, like we do as a player in game. Lastly, I know you have a keen eye for linebackers. That's where you start your roots in coaching. And that is, what have you seen from the young guys? I saw Cody Barton got an interception, but are they developing? They're coming along. What are you seeing? I know no pads on, but even with no pads on, linebackers still act like they got pads on.
Yeah, well, I never ever make a proclamation on a linebacker until I watch him set his pads against an opponent, and I'm talking about in practice. You know, but Williams and Gray, I like the progress that Frank Bush is making with these guys. You know, Gray is a good instinctive player. He missed way too much time early on. He missed some huge development, but yes, and they are going through extensive. Here's the thing that I noticed first about the linebackers, Blaine, at this time without pads on. Linebackers that I can't hear during team or even during walkthrough. If I can't hear a linebacker, then I know that he doesn't get it. So these guys I can hear. They're vocal. So to me, and clearly they're both way more vocal than they were last year. They're starting to catch on to it. They're both athletic dudes, but again, until they get those pads on and start setting them against somebody that they're trying to knock back or that's trying to knock them back, I'm going to withhold my judgment. I talk to Frank Bush a lot, but he likes their progress.
Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, two rookies that have really started making a mark at these practices is Elikiah Manor and Marcus Harris, the defensive back that was drafted in the 6th round, if I'm not mistaken, from Cal.
Cal.
What have you seen from both those players and their progression over the course of the offseason so far?
Well, first of all, and you're right by saying that, Zach, it's way early, but neither one of those guys look like they're out of place. Kyle Manor is a smooth dude. Here's what I like about him. He knows why he's here, and he's here to help this passing game. But if you drill down film on him before, he's doing exactly what he did, in his collegiate game. He's very smooth. He can find the open area, and he's got good length. He's got good reach. The thing I look for young corners when they're doing this stuff is how much do they look like they're lost. Because I can tell you really quick, watching that young corner, especially now, in the first phase you can't because they're not going against anybody. But two things. That's why I watch walkthroughs. If somebody's constantly defensive back coach is constantly having to say, what did we talk about? Do it again. What do we talk about? Make this adjustment. I haven't seen that from him. He looks like he belongs, and that's important. And I think that's very, very important. And he's smooth. He's a smooth transitional athlete. I don't know what his top-end speed is, but he's a smooth transition dude.
And what about Marcus Harris? What have you seen from him?
Well, to me, Marcus Harris, you start looking at all those Cal players, if you study their team this year, they had a really nice defensive team. You can tell he had some good coaching coming up early on. He's a pretty technique sound guy for a young guy. Now, is he going to get beat? Again, once you start going against, that's why when they get the pads on and start going against this receiving group, it'll be something to watch. But when they start going against those other two teams that we're going to go get on the road and work out against in back-to-back weeks, that's where I'm going to find out about Marcus Harris.
A guy that we haven't really asked about in the off season since practices have started up and all the different types of practices, Dan Moore. We haven't really heard a lot about Dan Moore or anything like that, which may be actually a good thing for the left tackle position if you don't hear anything bad one way or the other. But what have you seen from Dan Moore this off season so far that's like, okay, this guy can hold steady over at that left tackle position?
Yeah, and plus I can see, Bill Callahan's already made some improvements to what he's, even as a vet. And you can see that Dan Moore has taken to Bill Callahan's coaching. Bill Callahan is a great, great technique coach. And he can even take a veteran player and give him some tweaks that can help. First of all, the thing that I like about him, he's a really, really hard worker. He's a hard worker. And I spent, full disclosure, I was at practice early this morning, and I go immediately to Bill Callahan at the end of the field where he is, and we just sit and talk ball. And we talked about that player in particular. He says he really likes the way he's coming along.
Coach, just real quick, by the time that we talk to you next, mandatory minicamp will be over, and then they have the long break over till the end of July. Talk us through real quick what is the messaging in this big long break from the coaching staff to these players about being ready and being prepared by the time training camp rolls around?
Don't lose what you've built up in this off season. Don't lose it. You can't. They're all going to have a program wherever they go. I mean, some can stay here if they want, but they're all going to have a program. Don't lose it. And the other thing that I always told my guys, and they tell them this too right now, take a little bit of time, and I mean a little bit of time, but always understand that the best condition that you're in right now, you need to improve on that a little bit more because you're going to need that when you get back. But build on what you learned, both mentally. You've been through the install. Build on that, but then build on your physical conditioning. That is huge. Each position is different. The position-specific things that you will have to have, but this is a hugely, hugely valuable time now. Veterans, we just talked about guys being able to figure out their bodies the longer that they're in the league, but this is a huge time for the rookies right now because now they're on their own until they get back. And when you get back, then you're practicing and playing for money. So you need to keep everything in perspective when you're gone.
Great advice, as always, Coach Mack. We greatly appreciate your time today.
Guys, appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you. See you.
All right. See ya. That was Coach Mack, of course, here for his weekly Mack Attack, brought to you by Tours Ford, the South most trusted Ford dealer. When we come back, we'll talk about Jeffrey Simmons and what he had to say on building a coordinated pass rush. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
King and Associates Insurance in Brentwood stands out as an independent agent, offering more than just a range of insurance options. They handpick the best companies, build strong relationships with industry leaders, and create customized bundling plans. And as you know, life continues to throw you curveballs, and they get it. And my friend and coworker switched from another independent agent, got superior coverage for his home, contents, cars, and experienced clear communication, and had truly an ally, especially after a 16-year-old daughter accident, saving him thousands compared to his old overpriced agent. And you could do the same and save by switching. But don't do it just because I did it or he did it. No, do it because it makes sense for your family, your business, and personal needs. And all you have to do is just call King and Associates at 615-321-8121. That's 321-8121, or you can check them out at tkinginsurance.com to keep more money in your pocket. All right, so I've got a little growing around my midsection, yes, and I've earned it, sure, but still, the dead bod isn't exactly the goal. I don't have the time to go to the gym every day. I want to feel better when I look in the mirror, but I'm not trying to do anything extreme. That's why I checked out Sculpt Neo and Edge Peptide Therapy. It's tons of muscles that melt just right away. No needles, no downtime. Sculpt Neo is the most advanced body sculpting technology available, merging fat reduction with muscle building in one effortless session. No surgery, no downtime, just results that speak for themselves. And Sculpt Neo is your secret weapon, building muscle and burning fat faster than traditional workouts alone. It's like doing 20,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes without breaking a sweat. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878 to book right now in June for 2 free sessions. It's easy and it works. 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Last call for phone calls if you guys want to get in your Titans thoughts or questions to me or Blaine today about mandatory mini camp and all that kind of stuff. All right, Jackson, you said you wanted to start with a clip from today from Jeffrey Simmons. I'm going to let you set it up since you wanted to start it.
So when the reporters were talking after practice, one thing they definitely recapped was Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons going at it a little bit in practice, smack talking each other, and Jeffrey Simmons was asked about it post-practice.
That was predetermined. Yeah, I told him, and I've been hearing how much smack he talked when he get a deep ball or something. And I told him, I saw him Saturday this past weekend. I was like, I'm going to be talking smack to you too. So, it's fun. I think at the end of the day, as you guys saw it and I saw it myself, that when you can have a guy with that much confidence as a rookie, I haven't spent that much time around Cam, and we talk going back and forth, talking smack with each other, and he was able to get back in the huddle and still throw the ball down the middle of the field. So I think that was the most impressive thing, not him talking smack to me, but I think being able to get back in the huddle, get the play to the guys, and still operate the offense. I think that was the most impressive.
So, a little smack talk among the team, always good, right? Were you a big smack talker at camp or anything? I think I've asked you this before.
No. Everybody assumes that you play defensive back, everybody's smack talkers. And I wasn't that way.
I would be a big-time smack talker no matter the position I played. And I probably would not be able to back it up most cases, but at least, I like to get under the skin.
Think they can back it up, so you would have been able to back it up.
Yeah, well, maybe. We'll see what it was. I like to play the mind games, like really get in the head. Maybe like when Christian Fulton got in the head of DK Metcalf and DK Metcalf started, getting all those personal fouls. I'd be trying to, I'm an instigator.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I gave you that tagline. That should be your middle name.
That was yesterday, right?
Yeah,
it would be the instigator.
Instigator, yeah. Well, you know what? I did smack talk, but my smack talk, I didn't view it as that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, you're motioning down. Oh, y'all about to run that curl route. I'm about to pick it.
So you'd be calling the play out before I like that. See, to me, that's a little form of smack talk, even if it's correct.
That's about as far as I went.
That's factually correct smack talk.
I betted probably 90% on that.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Jeffrey Simmons did have something interesting to say, a little bit of nuggets on the defense building a coordinated pass rush. This is what Jeffrey Simmons had to say about building a coordinated pass rush.
Man, like I said, we always talk about it. Everybody got to be on the same page. Last year, we went into games. We knew what team was doing. We knew team was game planning me. We knew team was, going to double me. They're going to slide to me. So if we know that, we have to do a better job, and we talked about it, and we've been talking about it since last year. And everything, even the individual, we're going through things and working through things together as a group, the whole up front. And you're talking about, all right, this guy getting a slide, then we got to have a balancer rusher. We got that guy on the other side getting a one-on-one. We got 8 guys on the edge, they got one-on-one. So, we talk about the 4 points of the quarterback, back foot, front foot, upfield. And then I said when you rushing quarterbacks, most of the time it's 4-man rushes. So we all got a back arm, we all got a point we have to get to. And, if we not at them points, eventually the quarterback escape. Pretty much everybody in our division can play quarterback to run. And when you not on the same page up front, you create them rush lanes and you create explosive downfield. So quarterback's able to step up. So at the end of the day, it's 4 guys rushing. We have to be on the same page, make sure that there's no escape lanes. And no matter if we got a game or not, we all got to be on the same page.
A lot of good stuff right there. A lot of stuff that should be pretty commonplace among most defensive rooms. I don't think they're reinventing the wheel or anything. But, I do think that, he brings up a couple of times that they're pass rushing with 4, and that's something they showed a big trend of doing last year, and it didn't really yield the results they needed. I know that every team wants to only have to rush 4, but I know they have to rely on the blitz a little bit more this year. But I do think that talking through about the coordination and the teamwork from the defense side, that's just good to hear. It doesn't really tell you anything other than, hey, at least they're all working on the same goal and rowing in the same boat in the same direction.
Yeah. Especially, playing off of him, he had to throw in that when he was getting double team, see, in the beginning.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I was trying to be a little positive.
Yeah. And I think he's just being honest.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's looking at it as, I'm bad mamma jamma, and they're double teaming, so somebody else has to get the job done. I think he's saying, they're playing off of me, so hey, when I do this and they do that, then this is what our counter is, and we're trying to all work together. So they, that's always positive because it's in a unit. He could be pushing a pocket, all righty, and then that pushes him, the quarterback, into a sack to the defensive end. He didn't get any credit for that. Right. So that's working hand in hand, too. So those are the things that all work, and everybody just looks at the sack numbers when, everybody's really heavily involved in helping one another have success. And hopefully it equals out to not only your personal numbers, because that's how you'll get paid, but also with the team getting some wins. But ultimately, when you have a really good team and you play as a team, those numbers you don't worry about because eventually they'll be where they need to be. And, so that's I think that's what he's really trying to say. I just think, he doesn't, communicate it the way I would like. But, yeah, I think that's what he's really saying.
Well, it goes back to our original point that we just opened up the shows that, people expect these big sack numbers, right? The big, but what you're saying is true. Because he is a guy that is pushing the pocket, that is taking on, when someone takes on a double team, someone needs to be able to take advantage of that, right? Oh, yeah. And it didn't seem like a lot of people took advantage when either Tavondre Sweat or Jeffrey Simmons was being double teamed, right?
Very
so
true.
that is this whole conversation, at least from what he was just talking about, was people taking advantage of and being in the right spots at the right time. If I'm getting double teamed, this is what we got to do. It goes back to Danico Autry, right? Danico Autry got to play with Jeffrey Simmons, and he ended up with 11 and a half sacks. And then this year, he didn't get to play against Jeffrey Simmons. He played in 10 games, coming off a suspension, played in 10 games, 3 sacks. That's not the same rate of what he was doing here at Tennessee because he was next to Jeffrey Simmons, because a lot of people thought that Danico Autry made Jeffrey Simmons, but really, Danico Autry's been a good player. Don't get me wrong, but Jeffrey Simmons was a force multiplier for Danico Autry because he was getting the double teams, and they didn't have a guy this past season that was able to take advantage of it.
And I think that's what Jeff's trying to say, but without throwing his teammates under the bus. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what happened. And that's how it shows you when you're playing with certain players, you help establish not only yourself, but them and making them look good, where this season he didn't have that guy.
Yeah.
And you could talk about Landry, but Landry to me was always a hustle guy, cover sack guy.
Right.
At least last year. So he wasn't like Danico is a polished pass rusher, two-tool player, outside, inside guy. So
they're hoping Draymond Jones is Danico Autry.
Like
Maybe that's not what they were going with, but they're hoping that Draymond Jones can be the guy that's the savvy vet that says, oh, Jeffrey Simmons is having to do this because he's getting double teamed. I know where I need to go and where I need to be, and I can take advantage of the quarterback in this situation. And they're hoping that Femi Oladejo grows into that. But that's what they're hoping for. It seems like they're going to savvy vets that know what to do, because Danico Autry, he got to a certain age. You got to be savvy, right? We talked about adjusting your game, and he was able to do that, and he took advantage of it, and that's good for him. That shows the kind of pro that he is, and that's what they're hoping from Draymond Jones. That will do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. 3HL's up next. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, and in the meantime,
and in between time,
peace.